name's Robert Dubben. I'm a certified sommelier, Italian wine scholar, and California wine appellation specialist. I've been in the hospitality industry since I was 14. I went to culinary school in upstate New York at SUNY Delhi, State University of New York at Delhi. It was a tiny town in the foothills of the Catskills. I'd always been working in kitchens before that, though. I started, like I said, when I was 14, and eventually went for official training. It's kind of classical French training. Worked in restaurants all over the East Coast, New York, Vermont, Florida, and then realized that I needed to touch on the other magical side of things, and that's wine. So I moved out to California, and after about a year of being here, I went to the International Culinary Center in Campbell, California, where I studied under 5 master sommeliers to get my introductory and certified sommelier certification. To make a long story short, food and wine go together, and I realized that when I was I don't know. Well, to me, everything's about an origin. Being able to talk about food because I know about it and I've studied it, different cuisines and things, makes it easier because when you're pairing wines, you need to talk about the acid content, the fat content, and how that wine's going to go with that or not. So being able to use the language and understand where the food's coming from and where the wine's coming from makes it a lot easier to relate it to everyday people. Compline is a wine bar, restaurant, and retail shop. So you see all sides of the wine industry. We have great food as well. But working there, we were working with all like-minded people. The idea is that we're all training for some kind of exam. So everyone on the floor is, studying for some sort of exam. So we're all in tasting groups together. We all study together. But also, part of our everyday service, we go through obviously everything that's going on for that day, whether it's the reservations for that night, things like that. But we also touch on different topics every day, whether it's ambiance, is the lighting right in this room? Is the lighting too bright in that room? How is the shades pulled? Is that affecting the guest experience in terms of seeing the plate, seeing with the wine right next to it? Is it too loud? Things like that, are the place settings perfect, because the idea at the end of the day is that we're creating an experience for people. So, I don't know where I'm going with that. At the end of the day, people don't necessarily want to know too much. They just want to have a good time, they want to have good food, and they want to drink good wine and talk with their friends and family. So if they ask questions, it's great to be informed and be able to talk about it. But, no one likes to, have someone just come up and be like, just spouting off information, everything they know about a certain wine region and things like that. The idea is to be humble, but be able to inform people when they do have questions, whether you know it or not, you find the answer, or of course, just, be humble, stay humble, stay humble. Customers are very, everyone is different, and at the end of the day, they just want to be happy and have what they want. So, finding a way to relate to that customer and find what they want without, maybe making them intimidated or, giving them the right information to make a decision that's right for them. You just have to be understanding, and you have to listen to them and give them the information they need, essentially. Well, every wine program is different. It's a living and breathing thing, as wine is. So depending on when you step in, if you're starting from very scratch, you have a lot of things to think about. You have different price points to fill. You have different countries, different grape varietals. What are people actually looking for? You don't want to go too off the wall and have, all these wines that no one's ever heard of from all these different places. So it's creating balance. There's a sweet spot on a wine menu as well in terms of price point. You go out to dinner, are you going to spend $350 every time you go out? No. It's maybe, 65 to 125-ish. That's different everywhere you go, every city, every town, it's all different. So it really depends on the demographics of your clientele, what you're trying to reach as a restaurant. But it's a very complicated answer to answer right away, but you have a lot of things to consider. Having these certifications just says that you know a certain amount of knowledge in that topic. You're tested, they're all different, whether you're certified specialist wine, whether you're certified sommelier, or, higher versions of those, whether you're advanced or master, or whatever it is. It's all the experience, and it's not just the knowledge, it's the experience side of things, being able to, not just have buyers push you, or seller, wine, people trying to sell you wine, just push you around, know what you want and go after it, and you're the one that's creating something to create that experience for someone, so you need to be able to make the right decisions to create that program. I don't think many people are a fan of just being dropped in on. Usually we're all very busy. I prefer to schedule everything out, and I'll tell you exactly what I'm looking for. Whether there's a slot on my list, I'm missing, maybe Spanish wines, this style of Spanish wines, whatever it is, I'll tell them I'm looking from this price point to this price point and where I want it and what I'm looking for exactly. So they bring me what I'm looking for, because I don't want to waste their time, I don't want to waste my time, I don't want to waste their sample budgets and things like that either. You want to maximize the use of your time, so. Just like every certification, like I was saying, it's just saying that a certain amount of things about that region. Even though I was a certified sommelier, I hadn't gone as in-depth into California. Obviously, Napa, Sonoma, and all the other regions, but going way deeper, it really informed me on, wine regions I wouldn't necessarily think to, maybe put on the list, or, certain producers, or it's more about the history to me. Origins of things are very important. I think, we don't think about that enough. So I think knowing the whole history of California and, well, I guess the wine industry in the United States was very beneficial on how I can be better in the future. It's all, you learn as you go, in terms of studying, how you retain information. Sometimes you study, take a test, but then 2 weeks later, do you remember all that information you studied for? So it's all about retaining the knowledge so you can bring it back when you need it, when you're on the floor or when you're in a buying situation. So now I'm kind of jumping all over the place, because you're never gonna, when I did the Italian Wine Scholar, for example, I just did Italy. Do I recall all of that? Not 100% of it, of course. But, when you're on the floor, you're gonna answer, Napa Cabs, you're gonna answer, Malbecs, you're gonna answer questions about New Zealand, you're gonna answer questions about this. So I'm jumping from one place to another. So I might, touch on Champagne, and then I'm down in South America, and then I'm back in California, and then, going back to French wine law, and then I'm, skipping all over the place, I think is important, because that's how you kind of live your life. You're not doing one thing full on all the time. And then
that's an exam situation.
Well, that's how the questions are going to be asked too. You're not going to, have, 30 questions in a row on Italy, or 30 questions they're going to jump back and forth, So I think that's just the way the questions are asked, and that's the way your mind may work. But also, it's reading a lot. It's, I'm typing things out and rewriting things and creating Google Docs on different wine regions, and then I'm also making flashcards and doing them at different times, different throughout the day, like reading in the morning and flipping through flashcards at the end of my day because I'm too tired to sit there and read and write things and things like that. But it's staying consistent and constantly, obviously, tasting wine as well. You have to taste all these wines because you have to be able to talk about them. How do you do that if you're not tasting them? So it's a complicated process, and I'm ever learning, but it's also the network we have here in Napa. We have a solid group of people that are studying together, so we're always bouncing ideas off each other and testing each other, and that's the other big thing. You can't do it alone. It's mentors are the other thing. You have to have a mentor or multiple mentors, that kind of guide you in the right direction. You have to find the mentor that's right for you, someone you can relate to. There's a lot of people out there who have a lot of knowledge on these topics, and I think having someone in all different sides of the industry is good, whether it's winemakers, master sommeliers, people who are, maybe just in advanced, or someone who's, just starting to study, because the other thing you should think about is teaching. If you're talking about it and teaching, you're actually making it so that you know it. Value for money. I mean, there's all different levels of champagne. Everyone usually they're all blends, and that's their base level. And then you get into single. I'll call it origin because I love the word origin. But single vineyards, single plots. They're really starting to break away from the old mentality that they're it's this village, this village, this village, and things are really kind of changing there. Where specifically, it really depends on the style and what you're really after. My answer is going to be different from your answer. So, ask me tomorrow and I might have a different opinion. I'm based off of how I feel that day. So. I'm off of emotion, honestly. Like I just said, ask me today and I might tell you, frappato and pizza. Ask me tomorrow, I might tell you that, I want that 95 Montebello and some kind of steak, or, I might just want, crisp, porch pounding, muscadet. Well, one project I've been thinking about doing lately is, as I'm studying, I'm noticing that there isn't really enough about the food side of things, and I'm studying all these wine regions, and I can tell you the soil structure, and I can tell you the microclimates of this valley, and why this wine tastes different from this one on this side of the valley, and all these types of things, or at least I'm figuring those things out as we go along here. But why is they say it goes with what grows there, so. Why aren't we talking more about the food that's there and why that food's important to those wines? Of course we're studying pairings and things like that, but I just think that I want to go more in depth on the food side of things. Like what's the food of this region, and I just want to get more in depth in it, and I'm not finding enough of that information all in one place. So it's a project that I'm apparently wanting to work on, and social media, everyone looks at their phones every day. We all have phones. Here's mine. But Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is that you're using, Twitter, people are looking at that stuff every day. So creating a brand for yourself, being able to talk professionally and show what you're all about and what you're trying to accomplish as a person, whether it's for your career or whatever it may be. Putting those things out there, because you never know, that could be what gets you the next big gig, or it could be it brings you someone to you who wants to do some kind of project, or fulfill that project with you. You know what I mean? So it's really important just to show who you are and what you're after. But just the professional stuff, not the private stuff. Again, my name is Robert Dubben. Thank you for tuning into SommelierBusiness.com.